WKU's high-flying offense is on the field for homecoming. But what did it take to get there? In this special edition of The Extra Point, we'll give you the game-by-game breakdown.
And we have not one, but two of the Hills Magic Makers. Offensive coordinator Tyson Helton gives us some insiders, and head volleyball coach Travis Hudson breaks down his winning 2015 season.
And right after the open, we'll fill this fourth seat. Well, he's actually already here with the man himself. WKU President Dr. Gary Ransdell will join us to talk about what's going on these days on the Hill. We're going for an hour, guys. Let's do this.
Let's roll.
With all the action from around Warren County and your WKU Hilltoppers, this is The Extra Point.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us for this hour-long homecoming show. Joining me is Paige Hagan and Carrie Blanton. I'm Will Puckett. Y'all, it's gotten chilly out here today.
And not seasonal temperatures recently, but now the cold front moved into Bowling Green, so it's
Actually, this is kind of seasonal. This feels great.
Good
Go for
football
it.
weather.
Yeah, you bet.
great football weather. All right, well, he may be the most interesting man on the Hill. Welcome, WKU President Dr. Gary Ransdell. Thanks for joining us, President.
You're
How
welcome.
Are
It's good to be on the Extra Point this morning. It's homecoming. Let's have fun.
Let's do it. So you've been here for 18 years, and this is your 19th year?
Yes.
Since 1997.
September 12, 1997. So we're still having fun and really pleased with the progress we're making, and I love it when our students are all in.
So let's talk, how has the progression of sports, we've moved into Conference USA here recently, and this is our second year in Conference USA. How has the progression of sports impacted the university as a whole?
Well, you have to start with men's basketball. That's been a part of our tradition since the 1920s and 1930s, and still ranked in the top 10 in almost every statistical category in the NCAA in men's basketball. Women's basketball is catching up fast with 3 Final Fours. So basketball has been our bellwether, our traditional strength in intercollegiate athletics for a very long time, ever since Ed Diddle retired in 1963 as the winningest coach in the history of college basketball with 742 wins over 42 seasons. But then in the last 10 or 15 years, we've also begun to achieve national prominence in other sports as well. Volleyball is ranked number 24 in America this week, having another incredible year with Coach Travis Hudson. I understand he's going to be on the show today, or you have a volleyball segment at any rate.
Yes, sir.
What track and field continues to do, what softball has been doing lately, and you just go baseball, so you just go across the board. But when we made the move in football, starting about 10 years ago, we began to make that move from what was then 1AA to then 1A, now the FBS, the Football Bowl Series. That was the signal that this university is going to compete at the highest level in everything we do. Academically, athletically, every dynamic of this institution is part of that vision to be a leading American university with international reach. And it took a few rough seasons with football, but now we're rocking, and it's great to see this program come around to equal what other sports are doing in terms of national prominence in our intercollegiate athletic program. So I'm very proud of what Coach Brom and this football team is doing to put us on the national scene in football. And you're known by the company you keep.
Yeah.
And that FBS company, those 120 or so institutions that play football at the highest level, it's a lot more than just football. And I want us to be part of that national landscape in everything we do, including football, and it's good to see this program finally do that.
President Ransdell, there's been a lot of talk. Games have been moved to 11 a.m. on the Hill this season. Some people were a little disappointed by that. What do you have to say? What does WKU as a whole have to do to get people to attend the games and not really care what time the games start?
Well, I think we're coming. It starts with having a great product on the field, and you're not going to find a more exciting team to watch than the Hilltoppers this year. But, the 11 a.m. time change, you just have to roll with the flow. Homecoming, normally I go to several brunches and lunches before game time. They're all breakfast this year. I've already made a couple stops, and I got a couple more to make before game time. But that's okay, you just have to roll with the flow. The good news is every one of our games, all 12 games, are nationally televised this year. I mean, that is significant for this university in terms of building our brand and helping America come to better understand the WKU spirit and what this university is about, academically and every other way. And in the final analysis, athletics, football, gives us the opportunity to proclaim this university and what we're doing intellectually and from a student life perspective, and that's just as important as whatever happens on the field or on the court. So 11 a.m. kickoff time, it's a trade-off. I'd rather be on national TV at 11 a.m. than be playing at whatever might be a preferred time and not be on national TV. So it's a trade-off, and the Conference USA has a strong television contract with Fox and CBS, and so therefore we'll take it when it comes our way, and we'll roll with the flow.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's homecoming week here on the Hill.
You bet.
There's a lot of events that go on throughout the week. What is your favorite part of
Oh,
homecoming?
I don't know, man. Big Red's Roar last night was fascinating.
It's a lot of
I mean, I love to see all the energy downtown on the square. We bring the community into it, and all the energy and adrenaline that was flowing through Big Red's Roar last night.
Now you were rocking those sequins.
Yeah, you had that sequence
Yeah.
on last
I
night.
had a red sequin coat with tails. So I was the ringmaster, I guess. So it was, but I walked the parade with Julie and Broadway the Clown.
I
So,
saw that.
you know, she's a great sport. So we had fun. But yeah, I had a red sequin tuxedo coat on last night. So anyway, students got a kick out of it.
What'd she say to you today when you decided not to wear it?
Well, she said, "You're not wearing that coat today." So I put this one on, and she said, "I don't know. That one's just about as bad." So she accused me of being a ticket taker when I put this coat on, but that's all right.
All right, one last time. What is your prediction for today's
My
today's
prediction
game?
today is going to be 48-24 Toppers.
Oh, wow.
Sounds like a
So
good
we're
one.
going to continue to put up points. Now, they've got an awfully good defensive line, so we're going to be pressed to keep their defensive line out of our backfield. So we've got to protect Brandon Dowdy.
Absolutely.
You know, we've got, after today, we've got 4 very important games to play. FIU on the road, Marshall at home in the biggest game of the year at 11 a.m., the day after Thanksgiving, and then hopefully the conference championship, and we think what's going to be an incredible bowl game this year. So there's a lot of football left to play, but it is homecoming, and I hope everybody has a great time. It's going to be great to see a lot of alumni back, and go Tops.
Yes, sir.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. And there you have it. While President Ransdell has full faith in the WKU football team, we have faith in him to continue to do a great job here on the Hill. Thanks so much for joining us,
bet.
President
Thank you all.
Ransdell.
Thank you.
Thanks. See you, Paige.
Later, we will be joined on set, yet this time it's by the head man of the Hilltopper Athletic Department. Todd Stewart will join us to talk about this football team and much more about Hilltopper Athletics.
And we will have all 9 games ready and waiting for us to talk about. Stick around as we have tons more on this homecoming edition of The Extra Point.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to the shelterpetproject.org and meet if you are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to the shelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, excuse me, sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If the door's locked, knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't stare, don't use bad language, or talk with your mouth full. Keep your elbows off the table.
What
And
table?
don't interrupt. Cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give your seat up to anybody who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you want to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
Good talk.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
Shout out to Dr. Ransdell for joining us. That's a busy man, but man, oh man, is he rocking those Red Sox. Now it's homecoming, but before the Tops kick it off behind us, we have to take a look at what's happened up to this point in the season. Let's take it out. Now, it started with the game against Vanderbilt on a big stage against an SEC team on national TV. The offense was quiet in the first half as Vandy kept the Tops out of the end zone. That all changed late in the third quarter, however, when running back Leon Allen would go in to put the Tops up 6-0. Then in the fourth quarter, Dowdy dropped a dime to Higbee in the end zone on a 9-yard pass for another 6 to put the Hilltoppers ahead 14-6 with 8 minutes left to go in the match. However, the Doors were not ready to call it a game. With 33 seconds to go, Johnny McCreary would hit Trent Shearfield on a 2-yard beauty to bring Vandy within 2. They were at home, so of course they had to go for it. As the Commodores lined up for the 2-point conversion, Hilltopper redshirt freshman Joe Brown would stop the conversion attempt and seal the deal for the Tops with a 14-12 victory to start the season off with a dub.
We were in perfect position to try to do it, being down at halftime and not really doing much on offense. So for our guys to fight and find a way to win, especially in that fashion, that's big for us. I think anytime you can beat an SEC team on their home turf, it's huge.
Like others, the Hilltoppers had an early conference game in which they got to take on a team that absolutely throttled them last year in a 59-10 drubbing. The Brom squad was out for revenge, and Brandon Dowdy looked to get things started on his own early. Dowdy threw for 441 yards in the game. However, the running game would suffer a massive blow. Senior running back Leon Allen would leave the game with a season-ending knee injury. On the defensive side of the ball, Nick Holt and his squad had their hands full with Florida transfer QB Jeff Driscoll. WKU would go on to win 41-38 with the Schwetman field goal to hold off the Bulldogs. Now, after rushing for 1,500 yards last season, the expectations could not have been higher at the running back position. However, a devastating knee injury early in the third quarter against La Tech would sit down Leon Allen for the season, where his season hopes for repeating a 1,500-yard season were torn away from him, literally. In Allen's limited time on the field this year, he carried the ball 27 times for 137 yards en route to a handful of touchdowns.
We're not for sure right now. I'm not very optimistic. It's unfortunate. You can ask anyone within our program. He's our most valuable player on offense. Just an extremely hard worker, very versatile. He can carry the ball, runs hard, great receiver. And without him, it's going to be a challenge. But, we'll see. We'll get the results, I guess, maybe back tomorrow, but I'm not very optimistic.
Having their best start to a season since 2005, the Tops look to continue that start with a win against Big Ten foe Indiana University. If they could take down IU, that would have accomplished their goal from the start of the season, beating 2 of the Power 5 teams on their schedule. The Tops made an immediate statement, doubling the Hoosiers' score in the first half, 28-14. But coming into the second, Dowdy didn't execute like Dowdy normally does. He threw back-to-back interceptions that Indiana would then capitalize on, scoring on both following drives and putting the Tops out of reach, and the offense tried to rally late, but the turnover damage was just too great to overcome.
We could still move it on offense, but we turned the ball over twice in a row. The first one I thought we had a touchdown. We just kind of underthrew it and let it inside. And then the second we forced in there, and unfortunately, for us, we don't have that margin for error.
So Indiana 3-0 after that win for the first time since 2010. Coach Kevin Wilson was very excited for that. And
definitely the Hilltoppers had to come in and play well against Indiana. Last year, Illinois, they didn't play very well, had a few mess-ups in the second half, much like IU, but giving the ball to them twice just really doomed the Hilltoppers.
It was a big turning point for the season, I think, though. I think it lit a fire underneath especially the offense.
Well said. I think they were very devastated after that loss, and they were looking forward to beating them at home on turf. But, coming up on the top loss, the Tops hope to get back on track when coming off to the top loss, the Indiana hoped to get back on track when Miami of Ohio came to Bowling Green. The Hilltoppers got off to a quick start, and Brandon Dowdy threw 3 touchdown passes in the first quarter, 1 to Antwain Grant, 2 to Taywan Taylor, and from there the Hilltoppers kept the heat coming, scoring 4 more touchdowns before the end of the first half. Brandon Dowdy threw for 464 yards on the day with 569 yards on total offense and sending the Redhawks back with their tails between the legs, and Ohio with a loss of 56-14. So coming off the Miami rout, WKU looked to bring that momentum down to Texas to face off against Rice. Brandon Doughty lit up the Owls with 409 yards and 4 first-half touchdowns to 4 different receivers. Dangerfield, Taylor, Higbee, and Grant all got in on the party. DeAndre Furby only ran for 58 yards, but he tacked on 2 more touchdowns for the Tops. But the main headline was the return of the face of Ace Wales. He only carried the ball 3 times, but the Wales return was a sight for sore eyes. The Toppers downed the Owls by a score of 49-10.
The MTSU WKU football game is known by most all students for the blood drive competition that goes along with it. Though the Hilltoppers lost that competition, they walked away with the W when it came to football. WKU started off fast with the DeAndre Furby touchdown only a minute and 25 seconds into the game. From then on, Brandon Doughty did what Brandon Doughty does, throw touchdown passes. 5 to be exact. And wide receiver Nicarius Fant got in on the action too, throwing a 69-yard touchdown pass to Taywon Taylor. The Hilltoppers ended the day with the most points scored in a single game this season, beating MTSU 58-28.
Well, that one feels good. I'm not going to lie. That the last 3 games, I'm extremely happy, but this one here really tops it off. I'm proud of our guys, and to play that way in the first half is just remarkable.
It was really a story of the first half in that MTSU game. Huge first half for the Tops.
Definitely, they hadn't beat them since the late '80s. To come into Bowling Green and have WKU play so well against them, I think that was huge, especially for the season moving forward.
And you want to talk about turning points in the season. That double pass in the second half from Nicarius Fant to Taywon Taylor for that 69-yard touchdown. Lit up the crowd.
Well, after taking the dub over MTSU, the Tops pressed on to fight against North Texas down in Denton. Now, the last time that these two teams faced each other was in 2012, in which WKU took that game by 1 point. This year, to open the scoring, Brandon Doughty found Ace Wales for a 5-yard touchdown in the second quarter. Doughty threw to Taywon Taylor for a 56-yard score by the end of the second, and WKU was on top 34-14. Need I say more? The outcome was obvious. WKU took the victory yet again and creamed North Texas 55-28. For the first time in WKU history, the WKU football team rolled into the biggest game of the season to fulfill expectations to hang in punch for punch against a top SEC opponent, the 5th-ranked LSU Tigers. The downpour and remnants of Hurricane Patricia put a damper on the day, but there was still football to be played. 2 quarters in, and the Toppers were comfortable, just down 7. WKU would force a 3-and-out in LSU's opening drive of the second half. But a Doughty turnover and a fumbled kickoff return would spell disaster for Jeff Brom's squad. Brandon Doughty reiterated after the game that it was a lot closer than what the scoreboard said. Just a few mistakes that cost them the game, and the Tigers would go on to win 48-20.
Well, it wasn't ideal. We're a throwing team, so when it's when it's raining cats and dogs, it's a little tougher than a light sprinkle. We tried to be aggressive. We couldn't take as many up the field shots as we normally do. It was just tough to hold on to the ball, and some things were slipping away, and we had to be a little smarter and try to get some completions and get in a rhythm, and then pick and choose throwing up the field. But it makes it tougher. But it is what it is. They had to play in the conditions as well, and we fought our way through it for the most part.
Now, Tigers might have won the game by 4 touchdowns, but I think WKU defense won the game for me, holding down that Heisman Trophy winner, 150 yards.
They stacked the box against Leonard Fournette. That's what they went into the game. But one thing that they comment on heading up into the matchup against LSU is they couldn't let the big plays happen down the field, and that's exactly what happened. Just let LSU into the game and downhill from there.
Yeah, the defense really tried to hold their own, but, that LSU offense really tires you out.
It was so slippery. Doughty couldn't – it was impossible to throw that long ball.
Mm-hmm. Well, the latest Conference USA opponent to fall to the Hilltoppers was the Monarchs from Old Dominion. ODU jumped out to an early 3-point lead on a first drive field goal, but when WKU responded, scoring 17 unanswered to reclaim and retain the lead. But it wasn't easy. The Monarchs put up 3 touchdowns in the second half, finishing with 30 points. That's the most points the Tops defense has allowed to a team since Indiana in Week 3. Ace Wales continued his hot streak, running for 4 touchdowns and 185 yards. Nicholas Norris claimed top honors for receivers, catching 5 balls for 117 yards and a touchdown. Brandon Dowdy tossed for 276 and 3 touchdowns as the Tops went on to top the Monarchs 55-30.
When we come back, we'll go back out to Karen and check out what she's up to down in South Lawn.
And while it's all about Coach Brum and Brandon Dowdy, the high-flying WKU offense might not be able to do it without this one important piece. I sat down with offensive coordinator Tyson Helton and talked about this year's WKU football team.
This new mom is struggling to get
So
the skills just right. And now she's holding on for dear life. Her kids can see she may have broke her knees. They still love her though she looks like she's attacked by killer bees. I'm allergic. Proof you don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent.
Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Thanks, Karen. It looks like the homecoming festivities are picking up, but the WKU offense is about to gear up for today's game. Earlier this week, I sat down and spoke with WKU's offensive coordinator, Tyson Helton, to see what makes the Hilltoppers click. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Extra Point. I am joined by WKU offensive coordinator, Coach Tyson Helton. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. So this year's WKU team is not noticeably better than last year, but there are some differences. What's different from this year's team compared to last year's team?
Well, I think number one, we're a more mature team. You know, we played a lot of young guys on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. We've been able to do more things with our guys, put them in different positions, and you know, obviously the quarterback, Brandon Dowdy, he makes it all go for us offensively, but just being a little more creative, being able to do things, being a little more older, more experienced. So we've been able to build upon that.
You mentioned Brandon Dowdy. He came back for a 6th season on the Hill, really has this team moving forward in a positive direction, not only this year and last year, but set up for the future. What did it mean to come to a team that had a quarterback who can do things like that in Dowdy?
Oh, it makes all the difference. You know, you obviously, as an offense coordinator, you have a vision on what you want to do. And when Coach Brum got the job, he and I saw eye to eye on what we wanted to try to make the offense be like. And we were able to do all those things because you got a quarterback that can make all the throws, that's very knowledgeable, a mature guy. And so we're able to have the world at our fingertips, basically. And Brandon's kind of like a coach, you know, when we give him a game plan, he runs with it, he brings ideas to the table, and obviously we've had a lot of success doing that.
We can sit here and name all day the weapons that he has to throw to, but this receiving core is kind of a sleeper on this team. What does it mean to this team to have a receiving core that can do so much in Taywan Taylor, Jared Dangerfield, and Twain Grant, just to name some of them?
Well, I tell you, all of them have their strengths, you know, and Brandon does a great job of knowing, hey, who's the right guy for a particular route. They're all playmakers. They're all very unselfish players. They're team guys, and they pull for one another. And when you have that combination of guys playing together, trying to get each other open, and Brandon knowing where the ball needs to go, that's made all the difference for us. And that's why those guys have been so explosive, is they know when the ball's coming to them. They know, hey, this is my ball, this is my route, and we've had a lot of success doing that.
Coming into this season, there had always been talk of Bobby Rainey, Antonio Andrews, and then Leon Allen was the running back who could really make it all happen. He had the aspects of Antonio Andrews and Bobby Rainey all put into a single back. Then the Louisiana Tech game happens, destroys his knee. What has this team done to kind of get behind each other and move on from that with DeAndre Furby and Ace Wales? What has the team done to kind of move on from that and go forward in the running back position?
Well, obviously losing Leon hurt us, but we knew we had a lot of depth. We had a lot of talent in the running back position and across the board in the skill position. And we decided we were going to have to move some guys around and do some things, whereas before Leon was carrying the load there. You saw more Taywan Taylor in the backfield and doing some things there with him. But, the young running backs, we knew that those guys could be good players too. And you look at Ace Wells, who stepped up, had a great game last week. You look at Furby, who's done a great job as a young redshirt guy who's just going to be tremendous as he gets older. So it gave those guys opportunities to kind of be stars now. And, hopefully we can continue to progress in that area, but those guys have done a great job for us.
So on this year's schedule was not necessarily favorable, but it was a difficult schedule. Go to Vanderbilt, go to Indiana, go to LSU, have Middle Tennessee come in, also Louisiana Tech. What does a schedule like that, especially with 2 SEC schools and a Big Ten school on the road, what does that mean to the WKU program and this team as a whole?
Well, I tell you what, number one, it shows the maturity of this football team, that you can go on the road, the past 3 weeks in tough environments, play pretty good football, win 2 out of 3. I think the fan base realizes that, hey, these guys are for real. I think, we're just scratching the surface on what we can be. I think this program's going to get better and better. We got a good mix of maturity and youth. So, as the older guys start to leave out of the program, the younger guys will have experience because they have played, and we'll be able to continue to play some tough teams. I think our guys really like going on the road and playing those big games. They're not scared to do that. We've got some good schedules coming up here in the near future, and looking forward to those ball games too as we progress.
A few more questions here. Coming out of the LSU game, the offense was able to score in driving rain. We don't even want to go back to that. We all experienced it. But what did it mean for the offense as a whole to score on an SEC defense? Do you think there was any thought in the locker room, we can score on an SEC defense, we can score on anybody? Was there a chance of a letdown coming up the next week, or was it just kind of like, we know we can score, this is something that we've done, let's just continue to play Hilltopper football?
It's just play Hilltopper football. I think our guys, again, are mature. They knew that they had to go to ODU last week and on the road and try to get a tough victory there, and they stepped up to the plate and did that. We weren't happy at LSU by any means. We did score, but we left a lot on the field. Had a lot of long drives that stalled out. Obviously, the weather played a little bit into that, but we never want to make excuses. Every game we go play in, we're there to win the game, and we feel like we're talented enough to do that. So our guys take that mentality. We're not just going to want to play and play well. We're here to win games. And I think you saw that last week at Old Dominion when, I thought our guys really stepped up to the plate, made a lot of big plays, and got a good victory out of it.
So moving forward into the future of Hilltopper football, if you had to choose one person on this WKU football team right now who many people don't know but is coming up, who would you say it would be?
Wow, that's a tough one. I'd rather not say one.
Okay.
I'd rather not say one. You don't know the names yet. Let's just leave it at that. There's a lot of guys that have been redshirted. I think Coach Brom has done a tremendous job of trying to redshirt guys because we have been able to, be stable in our positions. And I think there's a lot of really good young players here that you haven't seen yet that are going to be the future stars for this team. And as we move forward, it's just going to get better and better.
Last thing, if you had one word to describe this year's WKU football team, what would it be?
Determined. When I walked in to our first offensive meeting with the players and going into fall camp, you could see in their eyes that they really want to make a championship happen. They really want to win one. Now, there's a lot of things that go into that. You got to stay healthy. You got to play well. You know, you got to be a little lucky too. But those guys are determined, and I think, you know, they feed off of the success we've had. They know that we can't overlook anybody, and as long as we keep that determination, we're going to be just fine.
Awesome. You heard it right here. This year's WKU football team, moving on 7-2 right now, is a determined group of guys. They'll take on Florida Atlantic at 11 o'clock here at LT Smith Stadium. Stay tuned for what's coming up next on the Extra Point. This has been an interview with offensive coordinator Coach Tyson Helton. Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Coach Helton, the WKU Hilltoppers have their sights set on a conference championship. You know, y'all, I asked Coach Helton which team was the team they had to watch out most left on their schedule. He said it's always the next one. Now, we apologized earlier for the technical difficulties. Now, let's check back in with Karen Iser to see how homecoming festivities are coming along.
All right, thanks guys so much. I'm here on South Lawn, and right now you can see we've got a lot going on out here. We've got cheerleaders over here to my left. They're practicing getting those stunts in ready for the game. I've got all the department tents around me. Everybody, all these alum are coming in here just for this homecoming game against the battle against FAU. Right now, all these people are eating. You can smell all the food that they've been cooking, and it smells pretty good, and it's making me a little bit hungry. But right now, everybody's just coming in. We're getting all these tailgaters coming in, ready for this game against FAU. Now, right now, guys, we're going to take a sky camp and show you what's going on up above at the PFT camp. And right now, as you can see, everybody's just keeping up, keep things going. I've got this tractor right here behind me, and right now we're going to head you back to the sky cam to show you guys what's all going on up there.
All right, thanks, Karen. Coming up, we will be joined by the man who makes all Hilltopper athletics possible. Todd Stewart will be with us.
And later, Extra Point reporter Tyler Poe sat down with the constant hero on the hill, Big Red. See what the big man or woman had to say about WKU.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
This new dad is picturing a tree house in the sky, but he's ignoring the instructions. Good luck, big guy. His kids know that he's building without a clue. Never been so good with nails and glue. Now we're trapped inside a box. I hope mom knows what to do. Mom! See, you don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent.
Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
Bobby Petrino 3 years ago, Jeff Brom now, a 6th year for Dowdy, Michelle Clark Hurd, Ray Harper, and countless other decisions regarding the Hilltopper Athletic Department have been up to this man right here, Todd Stewart. Todd, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Paige. How are you?
All right. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Great to be with you guys. Special week with homecoming.
It sure
Yeah.
is. So what is your favorite event for this week?
Gosh, it's hard to name them. There have been so many. You know, we had a men's basketball game Monday night. We had a men's basketball game last night. We had a women's basketball game Tuesday night. And there's some neat things on campus, too. The Summit Awards dinner was Thursday night. The Hall of Distinguished Alumni lunch yesterday. And then probably my favorite is what we just did right now. We had the W Club Hall of Fame induction ceremonies over in Ditto Arena this morning. Inducted 4 more people into the Western Kentucky Hall of Fame, which brings the total number to 142. And it's a special group because we've had athletics for 106 years, but there's only 142 people in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So it's an elite group of people.
Wow.
Todd, there's a lot going on the Hill. Like you mentioned, the basketball team's in full swing. The football team has hopefully 4 or 5 games left to go. What is the state of Hilltopper athletics right now on the Hill?
Well, I think it's really good. I think if it's a stock, it's risen a lot in the last few years, and I would still buy now because we intend on having it rise even more. You know, it's football obviously is in a great spot. We're 7-2, and we really totally control our own destiny in terms of winning a conference championship. If we just win our home games, we'll win the conference championship this year, and that would raise the bar to the highest it's really ever been for the football program. Certainly since we made the move to the football bowl subdivision level. But I think even beyond that, you know, women's basketball won 30 games a year ago. Our volleyball program is currently ranked 24th in the nation. A lot of excitement about men's basketball this year. Our track program routinely excels, so I feel really good about it, and you know, all the credit to our coaches and athletes.
Now, we did make that move to Conference USA, and did you see the success happening? I mean, pretty much every sport has been successful in Conference USA. What did you see when we made that move?
Well, I was confident that we would do well. I would be lying to all three of you if I thought that we would get off to as good a start as we did, because really what we did last year had never been done before. We won 8 championships and a bowl game, and in the 20-year history of Conference USA, no school had ever done that. So, you know, that was really a high level of success that I hope we would have success. I didn't think it would be that much so soon, but I'm certainly glad it was.
Well, the new Conference USA commissioner, first female in FBS history. What is your relationship with Judy McLeod?
Yeah, Judy will be great because she was the #2 person under Britton Vanoski. She was very instrumental in helping us get into Conference USA. She actually did a site visit here to Bowling Green. She knows Western Kentucky very well. She knows our people very well. And while she didn't get as much external attention as the #2 person, she was very involved in a lot of the conference's decision makings and a lot of the strategic initiatives that they did. And I'm really confident that she'll hit the ground running and continue to grow the conference.
Todd, now the WKU football teams made trips down to Vanderbilt, made trips to LSU, up to IU. What do those three games in particular mean to WKU athletics and the football team in general?
Well, I think when we play people like that, we have more people paying attention nationwide. You know, certainly from an exposure standpoint, if you're playing SEC and Big Ten teams, you just have a lot more people paying attention. So to win at Vanderbilt was huge, to beat an SEC team on the road. And then I think we really had a great chance to beat Indiana, and that would have been historic. We've never beaten a Big Ten team before. But to compete with them the way we did, and even to compete with LSU, you know, the way we did under some really tough conditions, I think enabled people outside of South Central Kentucky that perhaps had not seen our program as much. If that was their first glimpse, I think it was really a really favorable one, and obviously that's a good thing.
Last question before we wrap up. Give us your game prediction for today.
My game prediction, I'm confident. You know, I mean, our guys, we've actually won 4 straight conference games by 25 or more points. We're playing really, really well now, especially our offense. I think we'll come out 8-2 today.
Awesome.
Well, with this man in charge, we have no fear. The WKU athletics program have never been better, and they're soaring to new heights. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you, Todd. And after the break, I made it out to WKU practice to talk with 2 of the offensive weapons in Jared Dangerfield and Taywan Taylor. Check it out next.
And later, our Matthew Stewart met up with a busy Travis Hudson to talk about his 21st season on the Hill and much more about WKU volleyball. Stick around and we'll be right back.
Kids will spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today. This is the moment I knew his future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
We know that quarterback Brandon Doughty can throw a beauty of a deep ball, but the athletes who go out wide and make the completions have earned major national recognition as well. Page talked with wide receivers Taywan Taylor and Jaron Dangerfield earlier this week. Let it roll.
Well, it's no secret WKU's offense is one of the best in the country. Here with me now is Taywan Taylor, junior receiver, and Jared Dangerfield, another threat to the WKU's offense. No DB wants these guys. So you guys are facing a FAU team. How do you look to test against them?
We look to test fairly well. We came in with a good game plan. Everybody's been coming in, going hard, executing, looking to go to work. So, we think we're ready for the challenge, and we look to go in and put our foot on the gas.
All right, Taywan, you come in 7th nationally with 957 yards and 11 touchdowns on the season. Does that surprise you?
It don't really surprise me. It's just a testament to my hard work I've been putting in during the summer and stuff like that, and just coming in and being on the same page with my teammates, and they've been motivating me to get better and putting good stuff in my ears. So, that's what's been driving me ultimately, my performance on the field.
And Dangerfield, you kind of started out slow this season, but you've proven to be a major threat to this offense. What do you look to do Saturday against FAU?
I'm looking at having a big game all around. We lost them last year, so we have to give them a little payback, So we're kind of hungry this week.
ESPN ranks you coming in top 50 with 572 yards and 7 touchdowns. What do you look to bring to the table on Saturday?
I'm looking to bring the big play threat out there, the physical threat out there, and just put points on the board, help our team win.
First time WKU looks to put 10 wins on the board since the Harbaugh era in 2002. What's the mindset of this team right now?
This team, we a bunch of hard-working men. We just go out and we love the challenge. We love competing. And we just go in every day looking to prove somebody else wrong and just get the job done and do what we do best.
And I'm sure you guys have spent a lot of time studying film this week. What do you look to improve on?
Press coverage and just completing balls on press coverage, because this team, they press a lot, so just completing the deep ball on press coverage a lot this week.
So, guys, they toss around the football from one of the best quarterbacks in the country in Brandon Doughty. How is it playing with him every day in practice?
It's beautiful. He just throws a catchable ball. As a receiver, you ain't got to do too much. You just catch the ball when it comes to you.
Well, you're nearing the season with FIU, heading right here to face Marshall, which is one of the best teams in Conference USA. That's going to be a testament to what the wide receiver core can do. What do you look to do against Marshall?
We look to do some great things. They're going to come in fired up after last year's game. Kind of spoiled their season last year. So, we're going to be ready for it. It's going to be a sold-out crowd. So we just got to come in with the same mentality and just go hard.
Go hard, they will. That's a big, bad receiving core out there for the Tops, making defensive backs walk home with their tails between their legs. Paige and I are looking forward to seeing the numbers they decide to put up today against a pretty good FAU defense. After the break, Carrie, Paige, and me give you our Owls Hilltoppers game predictions and a little teaser into next Thursday's show. Stick around, we're not done yet.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to the shelterpetproject.org and meet if you are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to the shelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, excuse me, sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If the door's locked, knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't stare, don't use bad language, or talk with your mouth full. Keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
Don't interrupt. Cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give your seat up to anybody who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you want to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
Good talk.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
While the talk and focus is all on the WKU football team, there is a man who's getting things done in Diddle for 21 years. The Extra Points Matthew Stewart sat down with head volleyball coach Travis Hudson to chat about the Lady Tops.
Thanks, guys. We're joined here today with head coach Travis Hudson of the WKU women's volleyball team. Coach, you're finishing up your 21st season on the Hill. What's kept you here at Western? What do you love so much about WKU?
There's a lot of things. You know, this is my alma mater. That's where I graduated. My wife graduated from here. It's where we met. I'm a Kentuckian by nature. I'm from Louisville originally, and there's just, you know, I've never really been a totally money-driven person, and there's a lot of things that keep me here. And, you know, I'm in a profession I love, at a place I love to do it. You know, and my family is right here around me. My wife's family is from southern Indiana, only about an hour and a half away, and so we feel really blessed to be here.
Now that you're coaching this team, how do you feel this team this year stacks up against those that you've had in the past?
Well, the last chapter is still to be written with this group, but to this point, they've put themselves in uncharted territory. I mean, we're 24-3. We're ranked in the top 25. Our RPI is 22. We're in position to get an at-large bid if we finish off what we've started. But you know, our program has grown to the level that we're kind of defined by making NCAA tournaments, and so, you know, we've still got some work to do to make that happen.
Building on that 24-3 record, you know, we spoke earlier in the season about the challenges you guys would face and the expectations. Are you further along in the season than you expected?
We certainly, I wouldn't have predicted 24-3. I'm awfully proud of the consistency with which we've played, because we haven't played great volleyball all season, but we do uniquely have a group of kids that competes on game day every day, and we haven't had a match yet where we just came out and got rattled or shut it down, and that's pretty hard to do. I've always said that I think winning a regular season championship is a much taller task than winning a conference tournament, because you have to be good over a couple months instead of over a couple days, and you know, we're on the brink of doing that, and hopefully we can finish it.
In those 24 wins, you had a 17-game win streak. You know, tell us about how that started. You know, in the midst of it, what was that like, and then how did it feel to have to lose that game to Rice?
You know, the 17-game win streak, you know, started on the same day that we took the most disappointing loss that we've had all season, where we were up 2-0 and losing 5 to Missouri State in our home tournament. We very rarely lose here in Diddle Arena, and to lose that morning, and then we had to play Northwestern out of the Big Ten that same night, you know, coming right back. And you know, I thought our kids showed great character to come back and win against a quality opponent that evening. And you know, certainly we didn't believe that it would set off a 17-game win streak. But again, it shows what I talked about before, that this is a competitive group, and they love to go out and play hard on game day.
Based on Northwestern, you guys are 3-0 this year against Power 5 conference schools, with wins against Alabama, Northwestern, Wisconsin. Does that feel good this year?
Well, it does. You know, I certainly throughout my life, my career, have had chances to go coach in, you know, big leagues and make more money and do those things, and I've never felt like it was necessary. I've always felt like we could accomplish those things here at Western Kentucky, and you know, you're always fighting that uphill battle, because you know that they, you know, have the support financially and with the leagues that they're in and stuff like that. And so it's rewarding to go out and win against teams like that, but it's not surprising. The kids in our locker room are all kids that were recruited at that level, and But it is kind of rewarding to go out and play well in those big matches.
Like that, and an impressive season. You guys have a lot of hype around this team here on the Hill. It's pretty hard to argue against you guys being the best team here at Western. Do you take pride in that?
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of great programs here, and there's a lot of people that I've followed that I learned so much from. Paul Sandiford, our women's basketball, that built our women's basketball program here, is somebody that I learned so much about coaching from. And I'm very, very proud of what our program has become. And but it's hard at the same time, to be honest, because we have had such a measure of success. Paul Sandiford told me one time, you build the beast and then the beast turns on you. And, we've built a beast here in women's volleyball over the last 15 years or so. And, but it's difficult sometimes because, we can go out and win 22, 23 games and people are asking me what's wrong. And, it's not just show up and win 25 every year. This is a really hard process. And for us to maintain the level that we have is something that I'm really, really proud of.
We're heading into the home stretch here in the season, coming back at home on the 12th for the final 2 home games. Are you guys ready for the Conference USA?
Well, I hope so. We've got one last road trip this weekend down in Florida, which will be another really long, tough one. And then we finish up with 2 here, and then it's on to postseason. And, we've done the things we need to do through the regular season that if we finish with 4 wins here, I think we're comfortably in the NCAA tournament before we ever go to the Conference USA tournament. And that's a really hard thing to get accomplished and would be really nice. Certainly we won't compete any less for a conference tournament title, but maybe compete a little more relaxed, being able to go down there and know that we're going to make the NCAA tournament regardless.
Well, good luck to you guys this season. I hope you can wrap it up with a win.
Thank you very much.
Matthew, thanks for that. Ladies are currently in Florida for their last road trip of the season where they meet up with FIU and FAU. They'll be back home in Diddle this week to round out the 2015 season.
One person or thing you'll see in Diddle is the lovable Big Red. Extra Point reporter Tyler Poe met up with the legendary mascot to see what it feels like to be such an integral part of WKU spirit.
You were the first mascot to be inducted into the Mascot Hall of Fame. What is that? What does that mean?
Big Red says it is a huge honor to be the first and only so far mascot inducted into the Hall of Fame. The party was definitely a riot.
So, there are many sports here at WKU. What is your favorite one to go to?
While Big Red enjoys all of our sports that we have here at Western Kentucky University, basketball is by far Big Red's favorite sport to attend.
What does Big Red mean to WKU?
What is going on? Big Red symbolizes the strength and the perseverance of the students of Western Kentucky University. We have to climb the hill to walk to class every single day. We have to have the endurance to go through class and also deal with all the other after-school activities that we pursue. And Big Red stands for all those things.
Reporting for the Extra Point, I'm Tyler Poe.
Thanks, Tyler. You can catch Big Red at every sporting event, including today's football game, or reserve him for your own private event through WKUsports.com.
Coming up, we will preview next week's show and take a shot at predicting today's Hilltopper matchup with the Owls. Stick around.
This new mom is struggling to get the skates just right. And now she's holding on for dear life. Her kids can see she may have broke her knees. They still love her though she looks like she's attacked by killer bees. I'm allergic. Proof you don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent.
Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Well, now it's homecoming on the Hill. 2 former WKU Hilltoppers have had a homecoming of their own. Next week, we will be back inside and on our usual spot at 6 on Thursday. Join us as I meet with Brandon Smith and Clay Stevens, who have returned to Bowling Green to mold the young minds and bodies of 2 Warren County High School football teams. We'll have that and tons more. That's next Thursday at 6 on the Extra Point. Now, we have talked to President Ransdell, Athletic Director Todd Stewart, Coach Helton, Coach Hudson, many more. And so today, it's now time to focus on the job at hand, and that's for the football team to avenge last year's loss to FAU. Last year, a 61-yard pass from Jaquez Johnson to Lucky Whitehead gave FAU the lead with 1:23 to go in the game. Brandon Dowdy threw for 335 yards and 3 touchdowns in that match, but it wasn't enough to fly out of Florida victorious. This year's WKU team looks to flip the script against the 2-6 Owls. The Tops come into homecoming riding an 8-game winning streak against conference opponents, which is the 4th longest active winning streak in college football.
Like you said, it is all about redemption today. FAU, we lost to FAU last year 45-38. Now they're looking to they're going to exceed that this time today, I think so.
This Hilltopper team is similar to last year's team, but it's really light years different. The defense especially. The front 7 play very well. The secondary does enough to win the game. They don't let a lot of things happen. The one game that you can really the one thing that they can hang their heads on is allowing 284 yards to Jordan Howard in the IU offense. But besides that, this defense is playing lights out, and they're a great team, honestly.
Topper defense is beatable, though. I mean, FAU, they have a mobile quarterback. Their defensive front, though, is going to be the story of this game. They've got a defensive end in Trey Hendrickson, who leads Conference USA with 7.5 sacks. And FAU is actually 17th nationally with sacks.
Wow.
So they've got to protect the quarterback today.
Big
Brandon
challenge
Dowdy.
for our high-powered offense today.
Now, let's get a few game predictions. Karen, what do you think the game's going to be like tonight?
Well, I'm banking on those Tops winning today, so I'm saying Tops 14.
I would definitely agree. I think the Tops are, even though the FAU defense is going to give them a bit of a challenge, I say the Tops have got it by 2 touchdowns.
I say 42, FAU 21.
I'm going to go 56 WKU and maybe 23 FAU. I think they can run and get a little bit working. Well, that was our game predictions. That's all we have for you today on this 1 hour. I've been surrounded by these beautiful ladies all day. Thank you for posting up with me and having a ton of fun.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoy the game.
It's up.
And it's good.
Oh.